We are now in the month of February, which means it is time to start talking about some bracketology. This is the time of year where things start to get really serious for college basketball. February is that time of year where it's important to win every single game that you possibly can, as one game can be the difference between being in the big dance and being left out, waiting on invitation to the NIT. For those of you that don't know me, I am Johnny Sports Network, here to provide you with my bracketology update for February 3rd, 2025. There are many bracketologists, but I usually like to follow what Joe Lunardi has to say, because I do find Joe Lunardi to have an excellent reputation, someone that I have found very reliable in the world of college basketball for a long time now. And his latest update on his bracketology was from January 31st. And his last four byes: Oklahoma, Pittsburgh, Ohio State, and Texas. His last four in: New Mexico, San Diego State, North Carolina, and UCF. His first four out: Xavier, VCU, BYU, and Arizona State. His next four out: Indiana, Nebraska, SMU, and Wake Forest. It is important to keep in mind that this has not been updated within the last couple of days. And there has been a lot that has happened since that update. Nebraska, for example, they picked up another signature win against Oregon on the road on Sunday. And I actually do think Nebraska should be in the field right now. I'm not somebody that focuses on doing a mock bracket or anything like that, but if I did, I would have Nebraska in the field because their resume is better than a lot of people realize that it is. North Carolina didn't do themselves any favor this week, as they went 0-2 last week and they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. North Carolina's margin for error the rest of the way is very thin. Their remaining schedule: home against Pittsburgh, at Clemson, at Syracuse, at home against NC State, at home against Virginia, at Florida State, at home against Miami, at Virginia Tech, and at home against Duke. If North Carolina loses 2 more games before the ACC tournament, then they are going to have to win the ACC tournament to get into the field. That's how thin the margin for error for North Carolina is, and their brand is not going to save them. And I also want to point out that they are 1-9 in quad 1 games at this point. UCF is another team that I do, at the moment, have them outside of the field. Their season started off with a come-from-behind victory against Texas A&M in what was the first upset of the college basketball season. They are going to have opportunities coming up in these next couple of weeks to boost their resume to get themselves into that field, as their next 2 games, at Baylor and at home against Iowa State. I do stand corrected. They do play Cincinnati at home on Wednesday. Then after that, at Baylor at home against Iowa State. Another team I want to talk about: Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was a team who had a strong start to the season. However, as of late, things just have not gone their way. They had a 4-game losing streak from Duke to Clemson between January 7th and January 18th. They did pick up a signature victory against North Carolina last week. And this Saturday, Pittsburgh and North Carolina will once again play against each other. And that's going to be one of the games to watch this week for the sake of the bubble. The last team I want to talk about as far as the bubble, Texas. Texas in their first season in the SEC, and the SEC is really stacked this season. There are currently talks about 13 bids into the big dance is on the table for them. Texas is a team who I would have in the field right now. The fact that the SEC has been what it is, even though Texas, they do have some losses that are very important. They're against strong competition. Their worst loss of the season at this point in time is against Ohio State, and that was opening day. And Ohio State, they're also in that bubble conversation. The Longhorns will take on Arkansas at home on Wednesday night. Arkansas is a team that's been really disappointing this season. However, this past Saturday, Arkansas upset Kentucky on the road in what was John Calipari's return to Lexington. And who knows, maybe that game was the turning point in the Razorback season. And then they go on the road against Vanderbilt, a team that may be in and out of as far as safe in the tournament to on the bubble throughout this next month in this process. That is all I have today as far as the bubble teams are concerned. Before I close things out, I just want to go over some games that are going to be very important this week for the bubble watch. Starting with Virginia and Pittsburgh tonight. Pittsburgh is a team that is on the bubble right now. Pittsburgh, they cannot afford to lose this game, as that's going to really hinder their resume if they're to lose to a team like Virginia tonight. Tuesday night, Indiana and Wisconsin, Kansas State and Arizona State, Arizona and BYU. Those are the three big games as far as the bubble is concerned for Tuesday. On Wednesday, Cincinnati and UCF, and as mentioned earlier, Arkansas and Texas. Also, Colorado State and New Mexico. On Thursday, Maryland and Ohio State. On Friday, USC and Purdue. USC, it's been a disappointing season for them so far. However, they had a big win against Michigan State last week, and maybe, just like in Arkansas's case, maybe it's the turning point in their season, and VCU and Dayton. Then on Saturday, Tennessee and Oklahoma, Michigan and Indiana, Texas and Vanderbilt, as mentioned earlier. Also, as mentioned earlier, Pittsburgh and North Carolina, BYU and Cincinnati, Wake Forest and Cal. Wake Forest, they cannot afford to have a bad loss at this point in time. Alabama and Arkansas, we will see if Arkansas is able to pull off another upset this Saturday night. And that is all I have for you today. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a wonderful day.